So you've got this brilliant idea for a business, right? That's the spark. But to turn that spark into an actual fire, you need a blueprint. You need a plan for how it's all going to work and, maybe most importantly, how it's going to pay for itself. So today, we're going to break down the essentials of operations and finance that really bring an idea to life.
I mean, come on, who hasn't imagined it? Maybe it's selling your own custom hoodies online, or finally building that app you can't stop thinking about. It's a really common dream, but let's be honest, the path from just an idea to actually opening for business can feel like a total maze. Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you the map. And this is your map. It's called the Business Model Canvas, and it is a fantastic tool for just sketching out how all the different pieces of your business puzzle are going to fit together. Think of it as your blueprint. And today, we're focusing on the engine room, the left side and the bottom, which cover your operations and, of course, your finances. Okay, let's start by building out the operational side of a business. We'll stick with that online hoodie company we mentioned. First things first, we got to figure out who we're going to work with, what we're actually going to do, and what we'll need to get it all done. First up, key partners. Look, the simple truth is no business is an island. You just can't do everything yourself. It's impossible. Your key partners are your allies out in the world, the companies and people you really rely on to make your business run smoothly.
So for our hoodie business, this is pretty straightforward. We're not going to be weaving the cotton ourselves, right? So we absolutely need a manufacturer to make the hoodies. Then how do customers even get them? Well, we'll have to partner with a shipping company. And where do they buy them in the first place? On an e-commerce platform like Shopify. That's another key partner right there. Now let's talk about key activities. These are the absolute non-negotiable things you have to do day in and day out. Seriously, if you stop doing these things, your business just stops. So what are the absolute must-dos? For our company, we've got to be designing cool hoodies people actually want to wear, constantly. We need to manage that relationship with our manufacturer, to make sure the quality is top-notch. And this is huge. We have to market our brand. Maybe we get some social media ambassadors involved. And of course, we have to handle the whole process of getting the product from our warehouse to the customer's front door. And to actually do all those activities, we need what are called key resources. These are the essential assets that make everything possible. And listen, it's not just about stuff you can touch, like a warehouse or a computer. Resources can be people, money, or even just an idea. So for our hoodie business, we need talented designers and marketers. That's our human capital. We need cash, probably from a startup loan, just to get this thing off the ground. And here's the one people always forget. Intangible assets. Our brand name, our cool logo, our reputation. These are incredibly valuable resources. You can't overlook them. Okay, so we've kind of designed the machine. Now for the really big question. How much does it cost to run it? Because understanding your costs, that's step one for financial survival. Business costs pretty much fall into two main buckets. On one side, you've got your fixed costs. Think of these as your baseline expenses that you have to pay every single month, even if you sell 0 hoodies. Then, on the other side, you've got variable costs. These are the ones that go up and down right along with your sales. The more you sell, the more you spend. This is a perfect example of a fixed cost. A cafe has to pay its rent every month. It doesn't matter if they sell 1 coffee or 1,000. For our online hoodie store, the best example is our monthly subscription to Shopify. That price is the same every month, no matter what. Variable costs, on the other hand, are totally tied to each sale. For every single hoodie we sell, we have to pay for the fabric, the printing, and the box to ship it in. Sell more hoodies, these costs go up. Sell fewer, they go down. It's as simple as that. So, we have our blueprint, we know what it's going to cost. Now we need the actual money to pay for it all. So let's dive into where that money comes from, the world of business finance. A really great way to think about finance is like a ladder with 3 rungs, all based on time. Short-term finance is for your daily costs, anything you need to cover in the next year. Medium-term is for stuff that lasts a few years, say 1 to 5. And long-term finance, that's for the big foundational investments that are going to last more than 5 years. Okay, and this leads us to the golden rule of business finance, and it is so important. Match the term of your funding to the life of the asset. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't take out a 10-year loan to pay for this month's fabric order, would you? And you wouldn't use a short-term overdraft to buy an entire factory. You use short-term money for short-term needs and long-term money for long-term investments. All right, this brings us to what might just be the single most important financial concept for any business owner, and that is cash flow. This isn't about how much money you're making on paper. It's about the actual physical cash moving in and out of your bank account. This is so critical. You could be selling thousands of hoodies and be technically profitable, but if your customers are taking forever to pay you and your suppliers demand cash up front, you can literally run out of money to pay your bills. Cash is the oxygen a business breathes, and without it, it suffocates, period.
Now, this is what a cash flow forecast looks like. It basically lets you see into the future. And in this example, it's waving a giant red flag. See that number for December? That means the business is predicted to be 25,000 euro in the red. That is a huge problem. But because we forecasted it, we can actually make a plan.
And here's how we can fix it. We basically have 4 levers we can pull. We can try to bring more cash in fast, maybe with a flash sale. We can spend less cash out by cutting back on some spending. We could spread out a big payment for new equipment over a few months instead of paying it all at once. Or, as a last resort, we could arrange some short-term financing, like a bank overdraft, just to bridge that gap. Finally, it's so important to remember that the blueprint we started with, it isn't set in stone. Businesses are not static. They are living things that grow and change over time. And that means your operations and your finances have to evolve too. You can think of it like a life cycle. In the startup phase, you're super focused, you're simple. Maybe you're just selling one type of hoodie. Then as you grow, you start adding new partners, new products, maybe some hats or t-shirts. At maturity, you're a well-oiled machine, using your profits to get more efficient. And then, to avoid decline, you hit the renewal stage. Maybe you pivot to a subscription box model or expand into a new country. Because at the end of the day, the most successful businesses don't just have a great plan for day 1, they have a plan that is flexible enough to adapt for day 100 and for day 1000. So the real question isn't just whether your business is built to last, but is it built to change?